Well, we have a question from Daniel. What a lovely name. If you were to design a systematic progression from novice to mastery using any kettlebell program of your choice, including your own, how would you structure it? So the first thing, and I like this question, Daniel. So in other words, I mean, there are, if there's 100,000 people on the planet who do kettlebells, there's probably 300,000 programs. Kettlebells they lend themselves to a lot of programs. When I first came up on kettlebells, the program minimum was still being discussed a lot. And it's too bad because I still think there's value to it. And that is the program minimum was 2 days a week you'd swing, and then 2 days a week you'd Turkish get up. Now, as I'm speaking this in the mid 2020s, I look at people online doing swings. I look at people doing Turkish get-ups online on these videos, and I'm like, oh gosh, that's not what we meant by either of those exercises. So done correctly, the hard style 3, that's the swing, the goblet squat, and the Turkish get-up, really opened the door for everything. And that brings in one of my programs called the Humane Burpee. One of the reasons I like the Humane Burpee so much, and I gotta say it again, I guess, and that's 15 swings, 5 goblet squats, 5 push-ups, 15 swings, 4 goblet squats, 4 push-ups, 15, 3-3, 15, 2-2, 15, 1-1. But what's nice about it is you get swings, you get squats, you get press-ups or push-ups, and you're getting up and down off the ground. You're getting the benefits of most things you want to do in a normal training system. So what I would recommend if you're going to do a program, if you were to add goblet squats into the warm-up, and you did something like the program minimum for a real beginner, and just experimented with it. From there, I would move into, of course, I think the probably, well, it's my favorite, so I gotta be careful. I was about to say the best kettlebell exercise, but clearly that's my favorite, so I'm kind of sliding on that side of it, is the clean and press family. And of course, we have armor building formula, which I would really think is underappreciated for that late beginner, early intermediate period. What's great about the armor building formula is you're mixing high rep presses, alternating days, with the armor building complex, which is 2 cleans, 1 press, and 3 front squats. Well, that combination probably is what most people want from any lifting exercise. It does give you basic hypertrophy. It really builds up the shoulders. It seems to build up some people's butts from what I'm reading over at Reddit. And a lot of people talk about how all of a sudden it does impact them in all phases of their life. When I come out with the supplement to it, I'm also including more loaded carries added to it. So in armor building complex for fat loss, we do suitcase carries and farmer walks as after the presses and after the ABC. Suitcase carries, that's the one-handed farmer walk, is something you should probably include right in the beginning. So at first, you just want to orient people with the kettlebell. The swing might be too advanced, so maybe I would use the Bulgarian goat bag swing, even the hip thrust if we have to take it down to that level. Hip thrust, Bulgarian goat bag, the other variations like the RDL swing and the waiter's bow. On the Turkish getup, you could just add, break it down into components, into the small little pieces. And then make sure they're on the program minimum with the goblet squat, the armor building complex, armor building formula stuff. Making sure you add, after some mastery there, add in some of the loaded carry family, waiter walk, suitcase carry are givens almost in my mind. And then of course you can slide over to the farmer walk. From there, now it depends on what do you want. Now, if you want a challenge, a 10,000 swing challenge is a fun thing to do. If you want a challenge, getting yourself the 5-minute snatch test, or the Secret Service one, which is the 10-minute test. Those would be fun things to do. But you'll notice that we've been doing clean and presses for a long time, and now I'm talking about the snatch. I think the snatch has to come in a little later. I think you need a lot more foundation. That's my opinion. Once you get yourself to being able to press half body weight with a kettlebell overhead and doing 200 snatches with the 24K in 10 minutes, you've pretty much taken care of what you need to with the kettlebell. From there, you might want to experiment around, play around with the windmill and the bent press family occasionally for fun. But to me, that would be that. Let me just shape this up for you, okay? Okay, orientation, learn how to do the movements. The hard style 3 program minimum. Add in the humane burpee for the hard days. Okay. Move to the armor building formula with loaded carries. Learn how to snatch correctly. Chase the 5-minute test. Chase the 10-minute test. From there, then play around with the windmill and bent press family if you like, and you don't have to do any of this. And then, if you cycle through that a few times, I think you'd have a pretty good program. Good question, fun question. Thanks a lot.